Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Power Up by PNM podcast hour in partnership with the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, featuring some of our community's favorite leaders and small business owners. So plug in your favorite device, grab a sack lunch and your favorite beverage, and join us every Tuesday at noon to meet the movers and shakers in our community that are not letting anything hold them back. We are here to inspire you to continue to grow and scale your small business venture. Don't forget to call us at 505-842-9003 for all of your PPE supply needs. And for this podcast and any and all other information about the Hispano Chamber of Commerce, visit us at www.ahcnm.org/chamber chat. We'll give you another minute if you are joining us live.
The Powered Up by PNM podcast. We're so excited that you are joining us live right here on Facebook or wherever you consume your podcast. Today we have a really great guest, Mr. Jim Garcia. He's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. You're going to be wowed. You're going to be inspired. I believe you're going to walk away blessed because you're going to get to know Mr. Jim Garcia, who serves on our board. But before we get into today's interview, we have a couple of great announcements. So if you're looking for something to do here on the weekend, we have the Daycation Destination happening Saturday, June 26th from 8:30 to 4 p.m. at Ranchos Golondrinas, okay, which is the Rancho Swallows. So it's located on 200 acres of rural farming, a valley just south of Santa Fe, the historic Rancho and now Living History Museum. So if you go to our website, you can learn more about it. Also, we have a huge event coming up, the Biz Gratis, happening Wednesday, June 30th from 5:30 to 7:30 at Bourbon and Boots. This is a great place for you to expand your connections because here at the Chamber, we believe that you're just one connection away from making your dreams a reality and scaling your business. You're not going to miss that because we'll bring you live music, dancing array of bourbon and beer spirits, and some of the best handcrafted cocktails in the Southwest. So you're not going to miss that. Also, if your business is in need of PPE, we are your PPE supplier here at the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. There's a couple of qualifications, so don't forget that if you are, and here are the qualifications, call the Chamber anytime between 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. to schedule your pickup. Here are the qualifications. You have to be a business under 50 employees, must conduct business in the Bernalillo County or Albuquerque city limits. You must provide your business information and register online. Now, next week, you're not going to miss the Powered Up by PNM podcast because we got Brian Charleston, who is the Vice President of Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Mexico. You're not going to miss that, so mark your calendars. And also to learn about all the wonderful things we're doing here at the Chamber to empower our community, because here at the Chamber, we believe we are New Mexico proud and New Mexico strong. You want to make sure you go to our website and look at our events because there is something just for you to help scale your business. So today we have a special guest. He is literally one of my favorite people on the planet. You really are, Mr. Jim Garcia.
Set the bar a little higher. Okay? Do that, JP.
Man, Jim, I remember the very first time I met you, man, you were magnetic. You were full of light and energy, man, and it's been a great friendship getting to know you over the last couple of years, man.
Well, thanks, JP. I think that was my twin. I don't know, maybe. No, it's good.
I remember I met your twin, John, at an event. I'm like, Jim. He's like, wrong guy, man. I'm sorry. You guys are identical twins.
Well, we're not identical, but we get through it, and it's been a good run.
Man, here's one of the things I love about Jim Garcia is this. You are truly a champion for New Mexico. And man, you've done so many cool things. And one of the things we want to do is we want to learn, where your passion comes from to do the things that you do, man. Where does that come from?
I don't know. It comes from being inspired by other people. So I've had a great upbringing. I'll tell you a little bit about that coming up. But it's been a great run here in New Mexico. I love the land of enchantment. I love everything that it stands for. I love the way it feels and the way it smells, the way people treat each other. It's just been a great lesson for me. So.
One of the things that we believe here at the Chamber is that Albuquerque is rich and extraordinary, right? That's one of our whys and what we believe. But I mean this with all sincerity. I believe that you're rich and extraordinary. Man, you've really had a really great background, man. I know one of the coolest stories that you've shared with me is that you had the opportunity to serve the president on Air Force One and during the White House.
We did that.
Tell us a little bit about that, man.
So in my early days, I used to run El Pinto restaurant here in town, and I got a call from my brother, who was at the time a cabinet secretary for Gary Johnson, and he said, "Hey, we got an opportunity here, and Governor Bush is going to be coming through town, and Chris Matthews with Hardball wants to do an interview." And they said, the campaign said, "You can do the interview, but you have to do it on the campaign." So they picked New Mexico. They called the governor's office. My brother called me and said, "Hey, you think you can convert one of those dining rooms into a studio and we can do the show?" We said we'd love to. So as it happened, we got to have lunch with the governor after the show. It was quite a great experience. And then he said, "I really, really love your food." And we're like, "Okay, sure. You say that probably everywhere you go." After that, about a week later, they called us and they said, "Hey, we have another opportunity, and we want to see if you all would join us and maybe do the food for the White House for Cinco de Mayo." So we actually converted the whole mess, they call it the mess operations there in the Eisenhower building next to the White House. We converted it into an El Pinto and served dinner in the White House.
No way.
Yeah, we did that 2 years in a row. But the great part is we got to be an FOG, which is Friend of George, which gave us an opportunity to be close to him. We did that about 11 times on Air Force One, and then 2 times in the White House. So it was a great experience. It was fun.
Man, so you had the chance to meet President George W. Bush. W. And so, really great guy?
He was a great guy. He was very, very warm, loving guy. Laura too. They were super all the time. They always he always remembered where we talked last, what we talked about.
Wow.
And it was really nice to be there with him. And
no, that's
that
super
was
cool.
Almost as cool as hanging out with Mick Jagger.
Come on, man. Come on, man. You had a chance to hang out with Mick Jagger.
So many years ago, when you didn't have that little gray tint in your hair, we had the University Stadium. We hosted the Rolling Stones. And
no way.
They wanted to hide him out for the day. And our buddy Danny Chavis over here that owns Revel.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, they want to hide away from the public. Can we sneak over and have Mick Jagger and his kids hang out with you guys for the day?" So we
no way.
with Mick Jagger.
Super cool people. Were they?
Couldn't understand a damn word he said. His Cockney accent was crazy. That was fun.
Man, you got to meet some really cool people. When I first met you, you were the vice president of the chamber, and I know you did so much great work, especially with the isotopes with the mariachi platform. You're the one that kind of introduced that concept to the isotopes, weren't you?
I'll tell you, this is a great short story.
Tell me.
We met with the isotopes, and they wanted to see if it was culturally correct, to be able to put on a mariachi thing, and how do we fold the community into this? And we basically, Ernie and I, met with him, and he said, "Oh, Johnny, you've underestimated what you need to be here. You need to blow it up. I mean, you need to be loud and proud, and you have mariachis, and we have to be screaming our voices on the concourse and doing it up big." And so they agreed to that. So they let us light it up, and we did that. So it was a good run, and it's still going on. So.
Man, think about that, man. You impacted New Mexico in such a great way by introducing the whole mariachi concept, which I think is like thebomb.com, right? So the mariachis are super cool. In addition, you've worked with Balloon Fiesta. Tell us a little bit about that.
Balloon Fiesta is great. Been a great run. I'm just coming on my 17th year now on the board of directors with the Balloon Fiesta, and that's really cool because it's a board you can't get on. You have to kind of do an interview to get the opportunity to.
You have to be vetted.
You have to be vetted, but I'm one of the only non-balloonists that are on the board. So
what's really cool about this, man, is that this is like what you do in your part-time, your spare time, man. This is not even what you do full-time. So what is it that Jim Garcia does? Where are you rainmaking at today?
So, you got to be a warrior.
Come on, baby.
I'm telling you, if you don't have the heart of a warrior, you can't have the spirit and soul to get across the line. So,
wow.
So to me, you just have to live. You have to live in the moment you're in. Take the opportunity, and make it work for you. So, and I've had a lot of things in my life that pushed me to that point where I really had a choice whether I was going to go forward or backwards, and so I've kind of taken it as opportunities to really be a warrior and move forward. So.
Man, good for you, man.
Yeah.
So right now you're serving as the executive director for the General Contractors Association?
Close. I'm the executive director for an Associated Contractors of New Mexico, which
Gotcha.
is the heavy highway industry of New Mexico. So we build highways and bridges. And when I first interviewed for the job, I said I don't know a thing about building roads and bridges, and they said, well, we think you can build other bridges, and if you can do that, we're gonna be in a good spot. So. You have to be a warrior, JP, and I did. I said, I can do this for you guys. I enjoy that. Association management is great. I got my first experience here. JP, I was vice president of the Hispano Chamber here.
Yeah.
And, I learned a lot here. I learned that we had the convention tourism department, and we were wholly responsible for bringing events and activities and conventions here to Albuquerque, and we set the bar high. We brought in the National Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We brought in, oh my gosh, we had the Hispanic National Bar Association.
Yeah.
So we were cutting the rug with some really good players around the country, and this was a great experience from that. But now I'm building roads and building highways and
building bridges.
loving life.
Man, it's really interesting. It's you building bridges or helping people build bridges from a contractor standpoint, but you're probably like the ultimate bridge builder in New Mexico when it comes to relationships, no doubt, man. So, I can tell you, the chamber really prospered, and I believe that we're enjoying that prosperity today at the chamber because the chamber has never been in the position that we've been in today. And I believe a lot of that is because of the work that you did early on. So thank you.
Well, there's a lot of people before me that laid the groundwork to the foundation for that. There's been some great stewards that have really made it go through. Ernie right now he's a really good mentor for me, and he's been a real great leader. And I really love his style. He's like, get it done.
Get it done.
Get after it.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that. So this experience was wonderful.
So let's talk a little bit about the Associated Contractors of New Mexico for a minute. Who exactly do y'all serve? You mentioned heavy highway construction, bridges. So can anybody be a member of your association?
If you have the right amount of money, you can do that, JP. So we'd love to have you. We'll talk about that right after the show today. So we represent, so there's 127 members that we have. These are the heavy highway contractors. Every month, it's called a letting, and the NMDOT puts out jobs that are out there. There is no better use of taxpayer money than the money that goes into the NMDOT and then goes into lettings for building and repairing our highways and our bridges and our dams. Right. And that money comes out right away. So every month they'll do a letting. Our members will compete, feverishly compete against each other. And at the end of the day, they're bidding on $5, $10, $20 million projects.
Right.
And then they get it done. They have a time frame that they have to finish and cure the site that they're working on. They have to build a campsite, if you will, on the side of the road to make sure they get all the things that they need to get done. And these guys are hard workers. So I enjoy the heavy highway industry, utility as well. We're building the future. New Mexico has some of the best roads in all of America, if you will. We're one of the only interchanges and exchanges that have, complete 4-lane highways throughout with shoulders that are built out. And we have a great way to remedy and cure. Kudos to Secretary Mike Sandoval. He's an amazing guy. He does great work. It's easy for us to look good when you have a leader partnership with the NMDOT that we have.
Come on.
So we have. It's been great. For me, my background was in the hospitality business.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I started in restaurants. I started at New Chinatown Restaurant.
New Chinatown
JP,
Restaurant.
Right there, Jefferson and Central.
Come on.
Yeah. And
it's really remarkable how you went from like the restaurant business to building bridges, man. That is crazy, man. Hey,
actually, if you connect the dots, JP, I mean, if anything, I'm going to get a message to people out there that, you can do anything you want to do.
Come on, baby.
I've reinvented myself in a couple of different scenarios, and I did it for the right reasons. And some of it came out of tragedy. 5 years ago, I lost my only son. My only son was killed, and it was an opportunity to go backwards. It was an opportunity to put a shine on what is life all about. And what's the meaning of all of it. Yeah. And I decided I wanted to come back. That's when I came here. Actually, I came to Ernie and I said, "Hey, I kind of need to be around people." That was where I had my most, the most best elements in my life, if you will. So from that, I did that. So
Jim, you're in a very small percentage of people who can turn tragedy into triumph. And although the loss of your son is near and dear to all of our hearts because of those who, many of us who've lost loved ones, loss of a child is something, but you turn that to inspire you.
Yeah.
And so many people can benefit through your example, man.
Well, you have to gather all your stuff and look at what you have and what you could have and what you can share with other people. And it's funny. Me and my brother, we've lived by the credo of business. If you just concentrate on 3 key result areas, you can do anything you want. I'm going to give the secret to all of this is in 3 different things that you concentrate on. 1 is quality of operations. Number 2 is people development. And number 3 is financial results.
Come on.
And JP, I want to tell you about that real quick.
Tell me, baby. Tell me. I want to know all about it.
So you can evaluate anything you have, any business that you have. If you just look at these 3 elements and you decide that you're going to charge all your being behind these 3 efforts, quality of operations is how you do things and how you do them better. So what are we doing today to make our job better? Are we storyboarding? One of the things that we did here at the Chamber a lot was we storyboarded our events and activities, and it was all about the quality of operations. So how are we going to refine this and get this project done? Number 2 is people development. One of the best things that I probably did in my past was to pick the right people and train them to the right level. I remember in my restaurant days, it was always, I don't need a waiter, I need a personality.
That's
Give me
right.
a personality and I'll train them how to be a great hospitality leader. So people development is number 2. And then financial results. If you don't have financial results, you don't need the other 2, JP, because you won't have a business. So
Come on, man.
I love it here at the Chamber because we were behind the small business. We were looking at how we were going to energize our small business efforts and make it work. But here was such a rewarding process because you got to see the results. And that's why I encourage people, if you're not a member of the Hispano Chamber, you need to come here and join.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. This chamber is amazing. Hey, let's go back to point number 1. Can you repeat point number 1 for us?
Quality of operations.
Quality of operations. So let me ask you, for those people who are listening and they're taking notes, because if you're not taking notes, you need to, because Jim is dropping some wisdom on you. When you look at quality of operations, how do you begin to assess that? How do you know when there's a failure or breakdown in quality of operations?
Okay, I'm gonna give you the best example, and it's not gonna even be a direct example, but I will tell you this. If you're a guest and you come into El Pinto restaurant, how do you know, if you're a host or a hostess, how do you know that person has never been to your restaurant before?
I don't know. That's a great question.
When they walk in the door, they go like this.
Huh?
And so we would look at that. We would come up to the customer and say, "Hi, folks, where are you all from?" And they were like, "Well, golly, what a warm greeting. We're from Denver." "Oh, you're from Denver. Well, that's nice. We're in some of the Smith's grocery stores in Denver. Here's a jar of salsa."
Wow.
And we would give them a jar of salsa. And so they hadn't even gotten sat, and we're already blowing them away.
Come on, man.
With the quality of operations that was planned at the very beginning. So quality of operations is making sure that everything fits.
Right.
Are the bathrooms clean? Or is the environment ready for business for the day? Do you have the right people? Do you have the right things in place to make it a good working environment?
Yeah, as soon as someone walks in, they want to be wowed from. I think when you look at quality of operations is where no one can pick up what is broken and or there's something that's missing. And I do believe in business that oftentimes we look for things that are broken, but oftentimes I think that's wrong. We just need to look for what's missing. And what you found was what's missing in that experience. So as soon as you greeted me, and you're right, when you walk in Pinto, you do look around. You're like, whoa, man.
Got waterfalls coming on either side. You got a lot of activities going on, pictures on the wall.
Yeah, that's a place you can get lost in.
Yeah.
It's huge, man. So quality of operations. So if you're in a situation where someone is saying you know what, I need to address my quality operations, what advice would you give them to say, hey, this is where you start first? Is it when the customer walks through the door, or is it maybe with your staff?
The customer experience starts way before they come into your door. First of all, it's a reputation. That's what you have. Everybody out there, the best example of great service happened when you least expected it, and that happens everywhere. Right. So I had a guy come into the Hyatt Tamaya. I had the destination management company for the hotel when they first opened, hospitality at the Hyatt.
Yeah.
And we had a guest come in, and we noticed they had a flat tire. The tire was getting low. And so I went to the lady and I said, "Look, it looks like your tire is low. I think we need to get that tire fixed." And so we scrambled and we got the valet guy together and we went and got the tire fixed. And next day I got a phone call and it was the GM of the hotel, and he said, "Can you come to my office?" And I said, "Uh-oh."
Uh-oh.
And he said, "You have somebody at the front door with a flat tire yesterday," and I'm starting getting the cold sweat.
I know what that feels like.
And the short story is that she was the wife of the the event that was happening at
Wow.
the Hyatt that day, and it was the whole experience was about what happened at the front door.
Wow.
And it wasn't about the experience they had inside the hotel.
But you can't teach that to someone. They have to have that. And, but this is what I did find. Maybe you can't teach it, but your culture within your organization should shape people to do those things.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, and that's what in my day we used to empower our people to make good decisions, and we would tell them that make great decisions for your customers.
Yeah.
If somebody comes back and they have a bad steak, I don't need a manager. I need a flipping steak. Okay, so make the right decision and make it now. Make it quick, because people are going to evaluate you and they're going to judge you based on your wrong decision that you made, not on the one that you did right. So,
Man, that's super powerful, man. So a lot of things that you learned in hospitality, that's how you run your businesses today, sounds like. Don't tell anybody.
that's a secret.
That's a secret.
Well, a lot of times you only have one chance to make it good, make it right, and you can blow it.
Man, Jim.
I had a guest one time who called me and he said, I ordered a dozen tacos and there's only 8 tacos. And I said, what's your address? So I went to the house and I delivered a dozen tacos. And she felt pretty embarrassed because of the whole situation and offered me a $10 tip. And I said, no, thanks. Here's my card. And I was then the director of operations for the company. But we decided that from now on, if we made a mistake on a to-go order, that's our new thing that we would do, is we would make it good. And with that, you're always going to have customers that will come back. So,
man, Jim, this is so good. What we want to do is we're going to go to commercial break in just a moment, where I'd like to unpack points 2 and 3 and then learn about the myth, the man, the legend, Jim Garcia. But before we do that, let's go ahead and go to commercial break.
New Mexico has long been a land of potential. We could be this, we might do that, someday. For renewable, affordable energy, someday is today. The PNM parent company is merging with Avangrid, a national leader in clean energy. We'll continue to invest in technology and energy infrastructure benefiting the state. We'll make 100% carbon-free energy by 2040 possible, while keeping bills affordable. New Mexico is more than a land of dreamers. We're doers.
All right. Well, welcome back to the show. That was our Powered Up by PNM podcast commercial. So thank you for your support for Mr. PNM and all the wonderful things that you guys do for us, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be having this show and all the wonderful things we do at the Chamber. So thank you to PNM. So today we're talking to Jim Garcia. If you missed the first half of this podcast, you're going to want to rewind and watch it, because what Jim has done is drop so much nuggets of wisdom on us in the area of a business, of building relationships. You're not going to miss that. But, he's talking about his 3 points of business success. And we talked about the quality of operations. Now we're going to move into the second point. Tell me a little about point number 2.
So point number 2, JP, is people development. So here we are. We have the best opportunity in America right now to make a great impression, because the world got flat. We're post-pandemic. We're getting back into the whole scene, and people are looking for work, and you're looking for great employees. So it's a two-way street. So I want to tell you this. You walk into a bank and you have 4 tellers there, and you have 3 of them that are looking at the ground or looking at their desk, and you have 1 that's looking at you. Which one are you going to go up to?
Yeah, the one's looking at
the one with the yes face.
Yeah, that's right.
So we always will do that. We'll go into a grocery store, we'll go into a bank, we'll go into, without even thinking, we will gravitate to the yes face, the person that you know is going to help you, that's going to help you get your things done. So we're looking for those kind of people. And I heard a story yesterday that there's a restaurant chain in the Midwest where 2 waitresses came up to the vice president of the company and said, we don't know how to run this place, but we want to work and we're going to do this. He made both of them GMs, paid them $50,000 a year to start, and they're training to be general managers.
Right.
So these people made a great impression before they even started their job, and they're willing to work up and be a warrior and do it right. So in people development, we're always looking to develop people. I mean, when I was here at the Chamber, everybody had to do 2 jobs. Everybody you had to do what you did, and then you have to be a caterer. You have to do what you do, and then you have to be able to work the office. Am I wrong?
Angelique, who's our engineer back here, she is agreeing.
She was a caterer. She was setting up for events and special. But you have to make people feel valued.
Yeah.
If they feel valued, they're going to work for you. They're going to move the whole building for you. And so I would always like to empower people, find the best in them. If you want to really get to somebody's heart and soul, find out what makes them move every day.
Come on, man.
Know their children, know who they are, know what makes them tick every day, and that you'll have a loyal employee. So
Yeah,
people development works.
For those people who are leading organizations, even if they don't have to lead a big organization, if they have 1 or 2 employees, showing people their value and making them feel value, I think that's the secret sauce to success. And I believe that's how you involve them in the mission, because if they're mission minded, they're going to work harder. Hey, you remember that story about when JFK showed up to NASA and he was walking through the building and came across the janitor and he's like, "Man, you're doing an excellent job. And what inspires you to do such a great job?" He says, "Well, I have to clean up the restrooms, right? Because we got to put a man on the moon. And when our engineers come in, they got to make sure they have a clean restroom." And he went into the next room, and it was a group of engineers. And he's like, "Man, you guys are working so hard." He says, "Well, President, our job is to put a man on the moon. And if we don't do our job, then we can't get the man on the moon." And he went to the next one, and it's just really cool. You remember hearing that story?
That's a great story. I mean, that reminds me of the story of Norman Brinker. Norman Brinker was the inventor of Bennigan's and Chili's in the day, and he inspired people to have an open door policy. So his door at his office in Florida had no door on it.
Really?
And so he truly believed in the mission that he was setting, the example that he was setting for every single employee. But they taught, and one of the things they taught us in those days, that you can do anything. I can clean a restroom, JP, better than anybody in the world.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that.
That's right.
But there's no greater thing than employees seeing you walk around with an apron on and tell them that you're willing to clean the bathrooms or set up a catering. I did a lot of caterings here.
Do you? Yeah, you did a lot. You did a ton.
Yeah.
So let's go to point number 3.
Okay.
Right. So tell me point number 3 again.
So financial results.
Yes. Oh, the money, baby.
Financial results, you have to be esteemed in a lot of different areas to really understand that. I know I was really afraid going into this new job because, our NMDOT budget is $1.2 billion. Wow. So you got to move that decimal place over a little bit and realize that that's what you're accountable to. My budget in the association is $1.4 million alone.
Right.
So it could be scary, when you look at those kind of things and you're doing balance sheets and you're putting your prospectus together and your 3-year financial plan. I don't have a background in finance.
Right.
I don't even have a degree. Right. So, you fake it until you make it or you learn and you work hard at it. I'll give you another example. When I interviewed for the job with ACNM, I studied their tax returns for the last 5 years. So I knew how they were spending their money.
Wow.
And I realized how to put that money to the bottom line, and I realized the complicated mess of DOT and how the monies came from federal highway and how they trickle down into potholes. So one of your questions is, what areas of the state you work in? And my answer was, every pothole in New Mexico is mine. I own every one of them.
You own them, baby.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Financial result is huge, and a lot of times we don't like to talk about financial results because a lot of business owners or people in general who are pursuing sales, they want to talk about the impact and the good that they're doing. But at the end of the day, if we don't move the needle in financial results, we don't have a business, right? And what I found, a matter of fact, I was reading this blog this morning. I try to in my morning miracle, you hear the book, The Morning Miracle?
Oh, yeah.
I try to read some piece of information, and this blog was talking about how at each new level of success requires new skill sets, right? So you need to drive new skill sets, and one of those is really understanding your financial statement, understanding your cash flow statements, and that can relate down to your personal financial statement if you're a sole proprietor. But let me ask you a question. How often do you look at the financial result? Is it daily? Is it weekly? How do you go about it?
Oh, it's daily.
Absolutely.
And sometimes more than daily.
Come on, baby.
If you want to learn how to do your finances, own a restaurant, figure that out. If you have to make your own payroll, you have to make your bottom line. And if you have to do your, balance sheet and make it work and still have all that food in the kitchen and the liquor in the cabinets, you better have a good understanding of how that thing's going to trickle down to the future of your business. And I know one of the things in corporate restaurants, they really taught us how to do that. We were encouraged to build our P&Ls, and then we were responsible for our P&Ls, and we bonused off of that. So I share my financial information with anybody that would like it in the organizations that I've been with. And if you share that information, they're going to be a part of your history, and getting things done.
No, absolutely. One part of the financial results is looking at your key performance indicators, right? Your KPIs, and that's one thing that I do every single morning is I look at our KPIs. And before I used to look at like 8 of them, 10 of them, and now I just look at 4 of them. So I figure like if we can move the needle in these 4 areas, we will win. And I look at those every single day.
You have to. I mean, I have 2 investment portfolios that I have just with my association, and there's over $1 million just in those investment portfolios. And then what are liquid? Where are we at right now?
Right.
I'm looking for 6 acres to build a new land, and we're going to put heavy equipment on there. Why? Because of the future. We need the kids to learn how to operate heavy equipment. These gamers that are out there, those are my guys.
Right.
They're gaming now, but in 10 years, I'm going to own those guys. They're going to be behind a treader or a roller or, a big piece of equipment.
Right. No, that's exactly right. So, I'm so excited that you said that about the financial results, because we all know that it's there, but that's something we got to keep an eye on. And I believe that's why most businesses fail, is because we don't watch that bottom line. And the bottom line is so important, man. So thanks for summarizing those 3 points, man. There's so much knowledge there. So, hey, man, let's shift the conversation to Jim Garcia. I mean, did you grow up here in Albuquerque? Where'd you grow up?
Over through there.
Right there, huh?
Over through there, just across the way there by the cemetery, by the Fairview Cemetery. So grew up here in the Southeast Heights and from Albuquerque. Wow. Went to Highland High School.
Yeah?
Went to UNM for a little bit.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
So, man, tell me, what are some of the things you love about New Mexico?
So, I love the way it smells, man.
Come on, man.
You wake up in the morning, every one of you that have gone out of the state or gone out of the city and you come back after being gone for a week, you know how it feels.
Yeah.
Everybody treats you differently. You get treated better here than you do anywhere in the country, and everybody knows that. But I love New Mexico. I love the mountains. I love skiing. I grew up as a ski instructor because that's how you hang out with chicks when you're in the day. So I used to race a little bit and ski, and I still do to this day. So we still ski in Corporate Cup. But I like to play golf. I love mountain biking and hanging out with my homies.
Man, that's awesome, man. If I was single, I'll be on the slopes myself. So that's a great way. That is funny, man. That's awesome. So what's your favorite course here in New Mexico?
I love Twin Warriors.
I love Twin
playing
Warriors.
There, and we say that they named the course after us. So. But it's a great course, and we like that. It was wonderful growing up here, and then having my son was on the Junior PGA Tour.
Is that right?
Bless you. Thank you. As you sneeze over here. So we love that growing up, and then playing in the Junior PGA Tour was fantastic. Carrying the bag for my kid for 9 years was a great experience, and one I'll never forget. So,
man, that's awesome.
I love New Mexico.
Yeah, I know you are Mr. New Mexico, man. You're not even. You love it. You are New Mexico. You really embody all the beautiful traits that New Mexico has. So, hey, so let me ask you this question. You go back to your youth, and where did that drive for passion? Tell us how you grew up,
I'm going to tell you that I was inspired by this wonderful woman that came in my life. Her name is Kitty Ong. Mm-hmm. And Kitty Ong was the manager of the New Chinatown restaurant.
Right.
And, she was very disciplined, so we were in high school. We'd leave Highland and walk over to Chinatown, and we would grow bean sprouts. So we'd have to pull the bean sprouts in the afternoon, set up the dining rooms. But she really inspired us to be a warrior, to be that person that challenges life and takes it on. And so Kitty, she taught me and my brother how to operate a complete restaurant by the time we were about 17 years old.
Wow.
So it was great to have that fuel. I was totally inspired by my father. Great man. I remember the day I went up to my father and I said, "Hey, Dad, I need a car. Everybody has a car." And he just put his newspaper down and said, "You really ought to get one. They're nice." And so he inspired me. It's like, okay, homie, you're on your own.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Have a nice life.
That is funny.
He never backed down from that either. But
no,
I think that contributed to being a warrior as well. To realize that you can make a difference in the life, your life and other people's lives, and so it's been fun.
I know this is about Jim Garcia, but your brother's done a lot of great work here in the state. I mean, you guys really are twin warriors. Did you guys work alongside pretty most of your career, or how did that work?
We did. We've always been kind of together. We started our company Hospitotally, a consulting business about customer service, And it was pretty much that we wanted to teach the world that, you can be a hospitality hero, if you really just try and have the spirit in your heart. We grew up, our mother's Hawaiian. And so we grew up.
I did not know that.
The Ohana, the
No
family.
way.
Yeah, so we grew up with this Hispanic kind of Hawaiian theme in the house. Thought everybody had that thing growing up. Mom did the hula, and she did a pretty good job. So
Oh,
it was kind
man.
of fun bringing. But John and I grew up together in the industry, hospitality industry, and he was a cabinet secretary for Gary Johnson.
Wow.
So, and he was the head of tourism department as well for 4 years. So.
Man, that's
Been a fun run.
Yeah, you guys have done some amazing things. Hey, let's talk about a little bit about how, where you spend your time right now. You are running 100 miles an hour. What do you do for hobbies or work-life balance?
I get up early in the morning.
Yeah.
I like getting up early in the morning and going to bed early and feeling it, put a good day together. So, I like to chart out my week. So I do some swimming in the evenings and hang out, do some mountain biking. I like to hang out. I live kind of by the hills up there, so
Yeah.
I get out and do that. But I think you got to find your inner peace, and kind of be with yourself. And if you can't be good with yourself alone, that's going to be hard to hang out with other people. So I enjoy my time by myself. So
It's interesting. I really enjoy my time by myself as well.
yeah.
I really, I enjoy playing golf by myself, believe it or not. I just love getting out there. I love walking the course and just allowing myself just to kind of think, So, you have faced so much adversity and tragedy and, you've gone through some stuff, and you also seen a tremendous amount of success. If you were to look back and say, hey, you know what? When someone is facing a tough time, like right now, we have a lot of our members who are trying to put their businesses back together in post-COVID environment. And it's tough and it's hard, and maybe you're seeing the prices of lumber and steel and groceries. Man, the other day I went to Chick-fil-A. It was like $17 just for my 11-year-old. I was sitting there like, oh my god, like prices are just skyrocketing right now. What do you tell our listeners about how to face adversity and how to get through it?
Well, I think it's simple. First of all, you just have to be true to yourself.
Come on.
What are your limits? What's limiting you?
Right.
I think right now there's so many opportunities right now. The world, like I said, got flat. So now everybody's out there trying to figure out what is the new niche. Where's the new place that I can be? How can I make a difference in the world and in the community? And it's all right there in front of you. Mm-hmm. When I interviewed for the job that I have now, it was comedy. I said, you think I have the ability to build roads and highways? I don't.
Yeah.
But if you want to build something bigger than that, I'm your guy.
Come on, man.
I went in there with the mindset that we're going to do something bigger than has ever been done before, and we're going to do it with the most brilliant effort that we can ever muster up. And I think people have to dig deep and find that. When I went through that tragedy in my life, it was pretty bad, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have face the same elements every single day. I lost 3 friends during COVID. Nick LeBou, one of my best favorite dudes in the world, vice president of the Isotopes, bigger than life personality. Couldn't believe that, he left this earth so early. And I think we just have to all take that in stride and really realize that, you only have a little bit of time here. So you really got to be that warrior, and you got to make things happen.
Yeah, that's such a good word. You just literally inspired me. When you said we have to build something bigger, I actually really got inspired because it made me think right now, like, what do we need to do that's bigger and better and stronger? And thank you. Yeah, actually, I'm actually taking some notes myself on this.
And I'll tell you that you have to have an attitude.
Come on, baby.
As well, you do.
Get that
you have
grit.
You have to have an attitude that you are that person that can get it done. When I was here at the chamber, my people believed in me. They did. And they knew that I was going to be honest to them. I was going to be true with them, and they weren't going to like what I said all the time.
Yeah.
But it's just the way it was going to happen. And I took responsibility for the efforts and energy that we accomplished.
Yeah.
And I love the way we're operating Balloon Fiesta right now. It's a great example. we told the world that we're going to have a balloon fiesta this next year.
Come on, man. We told the world, baby.
We told them we're going to
Come on, man. Get me excited, man. I'm going to start taking up an offering. I'm so excited. You're preaching good, baby.
We weren't waiting for the governor. We weren't waiting for the community. We weren't waiting for the health experts. We knew that the best mental health that we can give our community is to have a flippin' balloon fiesta.
Yeah, man.
And so we announced that we were going to have a balloon fiesta.
Yeah.
And we know how to do that because we do it better than anybody else could.
Man, so let's talk about the balloon fiesta coming up, man. So when is it going to happen?
So it's going to be the first weekend in October, which I believe is the 2nd through the 9th. Help me with that. 2nd through the 10th.
2nd through the 10th.
It's going to be unique. It's going to be different, but it's going to be better. So we're going to have the same amount of balloons. Everybody's wondering, are we going to have the same amount of balloons? We have like 25 balloons extra right now.
Wow.
That are in the chute. We've already have our COVID safe practices in place.
Yeah.
We're ready to do it. We have some really neat things that are going to be happening. We're going to do a radio remote controlled rally.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Hey, man, so how much money does the balloon fiesta bring into New Mexico?
And the next topic is... So 2 years ago was the last economic impact study that we had. And it was $186 million in direct economic impact to the community. So we take responsibility for that too. We know that we fill hotel rooms, that we have shoulder events that come in before, during, and after the event. We know what's happening. We actually built a program right here at the Chamber that's going to be one of the best takeaways that came from the task force from the City Council was an event called X Marks the Spot. And we incubated that whole idea right here in the Chamber. And this next year, there's two things that came away from the task force. One is to buy 94 acres of land right over off of Suna, with an industrial area. And number two was to animate the X Marks the Spot. And so we're going to be doing that this year. And it's pretty much everything off the field. So X Marks the Spot is the balloons would land and they fly over and then they would drop their beanie bag on the X. So we're going to have X's all over the city, and people have an opportunity to win some really neat prizes. So
man, that sounds like a lot of fun. For our members who are, in the service hospitality area and, they can possibly support Balloon Fiesta, is there any opportunity for new vendors to show up to do work at Balloon Fiesta?
Well, absolutely. I think so remember that the whole community gets lifted up by the Balloon Fiesta.
That's right.
And we know that. So there's a whole community of people that come into town. We have 4,500 RVs that come into town. They come in like a week before, 2 weeks before, and come in and they have a lot of money to spend. I remember when I was at El Pinto, it was like cheating, but we did happy hours for the RVers. And when the Matote started, and they started talking to each other about these little happy hours, we were packing them in.
Come on, man.
And people would come in and they'd just be, so we made El Pinto as part of the scene. So I would say, if you're a business out there and you're looking for how do you assimilate yourself with the Balloon Fiesta, get involved. Call us. Call me here at the Chamber.
Yeah.
You can call Shannon and she'll get a hold of me. But we'd love to have you guys partner up with us. If it's not on the field, it gets expensive if you want to put your logo on the field. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But if you want to show off and brag about who you are and what you do, come to the Chamber because we can help you align yourself with what's going on in the community.
Man, Jim, this is so good. This is so great information. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the power of the Chamber and how that's helped you grow in your business and relationships. So let's go ahead and go to commercial break.
New Mexico has long been a land of potential. We could be this, we might do that, someday. For renewable, affordable energy, someday is today. The PNM parent company is merging with Avangrid, a national leader in clean energy. We'll continue to invest in technology and energy infrastructure benefiting the state. We'll make 100% carbon-free energy by 2040 possible, while keeping bills affordable. New Mexico is more than a land of dreamers. We're doers.
We're back with Mr. Jim Garcia. Jim Garcia serves on our board, but he serves New Mexico in a greater way. And so if you're just joining us, you're in such for a treat because Jim is powerful and he's delightful and he's been sharing so much wisdom with us. But, let's talk about Jim Garcia in the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. So I know you worked here at the Chamber, but you've been in the Chamber business. You've been working with the Chamber for many years before that.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I've worked with different chambers around the city, around the local area, because it was part of the community. It was part of what I said earlier on, we have to, you have to align yourself with their potential, and you do that by looking at all the things that are around you. So Restaurant Association, Chamber of Commerce, all of the above. In fact, when I was in my deepest, lowest point of my life, is when I came to Ernie. I came to the chamber and said, Ernie, this is what I need to do. I don't have a clue how to work here at the chamber, but I do think that this is where I need to be. And my heart is coming to you, and I want to see if I can work here. And he actually hired me, and I was the director of convention and tourism.
So let me pause right there. Let me ask you this. Out of all the connections on this planet that you have had, having lunch with W, all the way meeting with all these amazing people, why the chamber?
The chamber was not a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I knew in my heart I didn't want to be a restaurateur.
Yeah.
And I knew the toll that takes. I knew that, if I was going to ever have a relationship again, it was going to have to be around a calmer life than the restaurant business, because the restaurant business does take a lot of effort and energy.
Sure.
And even though I was into it at the time, when I lost Brandon, I said, hey, this is a reset. How do I want the next chapter to be, and how does this whole thing end? And I kind of, begin with the end in mind, is what I started with. And I said, I think I need to be around people.
Yeah.
And I believe I could do it. And I think that was the biggest thing, is I believed in myself. I believed that I could do something different. And Ernie gave me a chance. Ernie gave me a shot. I love Ernie. He believed in me. He made me the director of tourism, and I was only there for like 2 weeks, and then he moved me up, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember when you were announced as the vice president of the chamber. I'm like, wait a second.
Oh,
yeah, man, that was fast. That was the fastest promotion I've ever seen.
Well, I knew well, and I think that was good, because I think he looked at some of the leadership skills and some of the things that I had been taught in the past, and for me it was, how do I animate these, make them work. So he did believe in me to take it to a new level, and I really enjoyed it. It was I couldn't get the job that I have now if I didn't have an association management background.
Yeah.
I got all of that here at the chamber, but I learned the power of the chamber. And JP, I can't tell you enough how much, if I was a businessman, small business man here in town, I can't stress enough aligning yourself with the potential here at the chamber. There's so many connections. There's so many business advisors that you have here. I feel honored to be on this board, to be around those 34 people, leadership with people like you, JP, and you know that. You know how I love you and your leadership, and I've told you that many times, but there's some really great people here that can really lead you to success. Sherman McCorkle, one of our board members forever. Sherman McCorkle, I met him at New Chinatown.
Wow.
In the day. And so I've known him.
Talking about Sherman, that man is so brilliant, man. I had lunch with him last week, and man, what a brilliant man. And those are some of the resources. You said two things that really made me think. Number one is a chamber will connect you to opportunity, because this is where you found the opportunity that you're in today, is here at the chamber. And the second thing that the chamber did for you, it connected you to relationships. And I remember the day I met Ernie. I had just moved here into town. I didn't know anyone. It was literally weeks after I moved in from Houston, and it was a little intimidating, because how do you break into the community? How do you begin to meet people? Mm-hmm. And then I met this silver-haired fox who walks through my door, right? And I was in here like, who is this guy? And it was Ernie C. DeBaca. And and Ernie has been one of the greatest friends, passions, drivers behind my success here in Albuquerque and New Mexico. And it sounds like we both share that common thread.
I can't tell you how many times that I went into his office and closed the door and said, Ernie, we have the ambassador of Spain is downstairs right now. I have no idea how to handle the situation. He's like, you just act like you do, Ben. Just
act like you've been there before.
So it's all good. He's just been a great inspiration for me, and I couldn't be happier with my life and what I'm doing right now. And I credit Ernie and everything that's happened here at the chamber.
Man, so let me ask you, for that folks who are listening, they're saying, man, I really should get involved. I've been meaning to get involved. What advice would you tell those folks?
Everybody's looking for the new dynamic. How am I going to fit? What's the angle that I'm going to take? How am I going to recharge what I'm doing to be successful? So you have to look at all the tools that you have, and if you don't have all the tools, you're going to find the tools here.
Right.
The resources are here. These people are dedicated to helping you, build your business, brand your business, align your business with all the things that are going on. And with this chamber, you get to pick your poison. You can decide if you want to be a part of the business group, if you want to be a part of the hospitality group, if you want to be a part of the community groups that are out there. This is great.
Man, I used to get really upset when someone says, I don't see the value in the chamber. I'm thinking about dropping my membership. And it used to frustrate me like nobody's business because I want to defend it. Today, I have a different perspective on that. And my perspective is says, you're just not committed to the community. You're not committed to your business. Because if you were, you would have been here a long time ago, because this is where magic happens right here at the chamber.
So, it's funny you say that. I would always, when I was bringing in new members, I would always tell them, don't join. Don't even think about joining this unless you're going to get involved.
Yeah.
If you're not going to participate, you're not going to have a plan, and you're not going to get anything done.
Right.
So I don't really need your money, because you're just going to complain about it, and it's going to be a one-shot wonder, and you're going to be done.
Right.
But if you want to get involved and be in a committee, man, we have 9 committees, and these committees are driver committees. They're getting things done. They're working directly with the mayor's office, with city council, with the county commission, getting involved with all the hospitality things that are going on in the city and the state. This is great.
You know what's powerful about the chamber too? There's always room for you. Mm-hmm. So it's never really like landlocked where someone says, well, man, that person's been there for 10 years and I can't get involved. What I love about the chamber is so dynamic. There is always a seat at the table if you're willing to contribute and if you're willing to work.
Yeah.
And I've never seen it more so today than ever before. So this is, the vision of the chamber, matter of fact, we're sitting down, I believe, next Thursday and really doing a planning.
That's Ernie distracting.
Oh, yeah. Ernie,
he's dancing over
the
here.
silver fox over here just walked in. So 1 p.m. Okay.
30.
All right. And one of the things that we're working on is the vision of this chamber, and under Ernie's leadership, we're talking about doing things that we have never ever done before. So, man, you're exactly right. So if there's ever a time to lock yourself down an opportunity, right now is the time.
Absolutely. I can tell you that when I got this new job, I didn't hesitate to join the chamber immediately. In fact, I wasn't even out the door before Ernie asked me if I would be interested in sitting on the board, and I said I'd be honored to do that.
Well, we would have been in a really bad position had we not asked you, because of the value you bring to the table. I mean, your value is immense. So,
well, there's still so many things that are going on that I want to be a part of.
Yeah,
Saturday, just July 3rd coming up here, we're getting the team together, and it's mariachi night.
So
we're gonna get the gritos, and we're
Come
gonna
on,
be
baby.
screaming down the concourse.
I know that's right, man.
So, looking forward to it.
So let me ask you this as we wrap up this amazing hour. What advice would you give our members about how to, look towards the future in terms of business and success?
Well, golly, that's a big statement. I would say that, first of all, you have to believe in yourself, believe in happiness, and then know that it can come. I was in a dark place, and I came from that. It's funny, just recently, Father's Day was just a couple of days ago, and I only have 2 people that call me, and one of them was my mom. And she was telling me, I know this is a sad day for you. And I said, Mom, it's not a sad day. It's a happy day.
Yeah.
I've had some experiences that I cherish. We come out of this pandemic, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, poor me. And it's not poor you.
That's right.
I told Mom, I said, Mom, how do we know this isn't heaven on earth? What if this really is heaven? We really don't know that. So if we act like that in our heart, we can live that, and you can live that life.
Jim, you're so profound, man. And I truly mean that. I mean, that's pretty deep and that's powerful. So let me ask you this question. How can our members find you? If they want to get a hold of you, how do they contact you?
Well, I'm easy to get a hold of. You can get a hold of anybody here at the chamber.
Yeah.
They already know that if anybody would like to get a hold of me, they can get a hold of me there. So just give me a call. I'll give you my cell right now. You want me to give you my cell?
Yeah, man. Put it out there.
Here we go. 321-6530. And if there's anything I can do to help you guys out there, if you want to become a member, if I need to help you financially so you can be part of a membership here, let me know. We do that. We want to help people out.
Jim, it's been such an honor to have you on the show today, man. I look forward to having you come back and doing some great things. Thank you for all the work that you've done.
Well, JP, thank you. I'm inspired by your leadership. Your term here has been fantastic, and someday I want to fill those shoes, and maybe they'll let me be the chair someday.
Oh man, I'm sure you will, and I'm so honored. Thank you, and I'm humbled by your comments. Thank you. Well, that is Jim Garcia, ladies and gentlemen. What an amazing individual, an amazing man, a true champion for New Mexico. If you didn't listen to this podcast in its entirety, you're not going to want to miss it. You can find your podcast right here on Facebook or anywhere you consume your podcasts. In any of our YouTube, we're on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We go big because we're not going home. That's what we do here at the Chamber. So also next week, don't forget to log back in. We have Brian Charleston, who is the Vice President and the General Counsel of Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Mexico. You're not going to miss that. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe in New Mexico. We believe that we are New Mexico proud and we are New Mexico strong. We believe that you're one connection away from making your dreams a reality, and you can start that right here at the Chamber. We look forward to seeing you next week on the Powered Up by PNM podcast. You have a great day.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for the Power Up by PNM podcast hour in partnership with the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. And again, a big shout out to our sponsor, the folks at PNM, who help keep your businesses energy efficient. Don't forget to join us every Tuesday at noon to hear from those in the community that are moving us forward. And for more information about the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce, call us at 842-9003 or visit us online for more information at www.ahcnm.org, and to replay this podcast, add a /chamber chat.